Welcome back to the listening post for real feelings, the corner of the internet where we tune out the static and let the heart speak plainly. You're watching Secrets Behind the Stars. For days that stretched like years, the air around Barry's Arctic and Elsin's Sanggu felt heavy, almost unbreathable. A haze of speculation kept creeping in, blotting out the view of a love we had all learned to trust. The timelines were flooded with tidy little fictions, engineered to chip away at what people believed about them. Each morning arrived with alarmist headlines shouting about rivalry, career stress, and an imminent split, if not a breakup that had supposedly already happened in secrecy. The drumbeat never paused. Success had become a wedge, drive had smothered tenderness, misunderstandings had hardened into walls. Even those most devoted to their story felt a tremor. The collective question loomed: could the world outside finally be shaking what they built at home? Yet storms can only uproot what lacks roots. Just when the sky felt at its darkest, a beam of clarity slipped in, not from a flashbulb or a premiere, but from the only stage that matters: family. Today on Secrets Behind the Stars, we're unpacking the intervention that made the rumor mill grind to a halt. We're breaking down the message of a father who didn't come forward to strike or scold, but to speak a simple, disarming truth that recalibrated the road ahead for Barış and Elçin. Before we dig into that turning point, a question for you, the soul of this community. In love today, how much does the blessing of a partner's family matter? Is it a pillar or a footnote? If you value these deeper explorations of the people behind the spotlight, make sure you're subscribed to Secrets Behind the Stars. And if you want to help us keep approaching these stories with care and nuance, the join button is there for you. Your support is the foundation beneath our work. Now, let's hear the voice that changed the temperature of the room. The quiet hero of this episode is a man allergic to spectacle. He doesn't dress to impress the cameras or deliver lines drafted by a publicist. Barış Artik's father has always worn his dignity in a low register, the kind of elder whose calm steadies a home while the outside world blares. He kept his distance from the commotion, preserving the family space as a refuge. But there comes a point when silence stops being noble and starts enabling untruth. After too many days of watching lie upon lie multiply, and after hearing their family name dragged into the mud of empty conjecture, he decided to speak. He did not arrive with threats. He arrived with certainty. In a conversation shared expressly to stop the runaway spin, his tone was the clean chime in a sleepless night. "I've heard enough nonsense on screens and feeds," he began, "and I can't keep still anymore." Then came the line that will echo for a long time. "I know my son's heart better than anyone. Barış would never walk away from Elçin. She is the part of his soul that makes him whole." Sit for a moment with the depth of that imagery. He didn't call Elçin a girlfriend, a partner, or a fiancée. He reached for language that lives beyond labels. To say she completes his soul is to make a statement about essence, not convenience. In a culture where elders hold a certain moral weight, a father's words like these don't feel like image management. They feel like a blessing. They reframe the tale. This isn't a passing storyline in Barış's life. It's his central narrative. And he had more to say. He wanted to extinguish the whispers about friction between Elçin and the Arctic family. His voice warmed as he spoke about her the way a father speaks of someone already seated at the family table. "She is not only dear to my son," he said with soft conviction. "To us, she is already like a daughter. She is sincere, she is good, and she gives my son a peace that shows in his eyes." With that, the cruel trope of in-law tension collapsed. Publicly calling her a daughter doesn't just sound nice, it opens the inner door. It says she's protected here. It says she belongs. It's powerful. It's rare. It changes the palette of their story. Before we move to the personal memory he shared, and to how the couple reacted, a quick reminder: tap like if this resonates. It helps push truth through the feed's maze. And remember, join members get a seat at our community table, where we dive even deeper into what the headlines miss. We'd love to have you there. After those sweeping declarations, Barış's father anchored his message in the everyday. Whatever challenges they face, he explained, are the ordinary kinds that any two people learn to face as they grow. Their love outweighs any small bump they encounter. In an era obsessed with polished perfection, admitting that little storms happen while insisting the ship remains steady is the most honest note one can play. And then he shared something tender, an image too intimate for any lens. He described looking out over the backyard a few days before. The light had turned golden. Leaves stirred in a mild breeze. On a bench, two people sat close enough to share breath. I saw their hands laced together, he remembered, and they were murmuring about what comes next. There was a glow in their gaze that you cannot counterfeit. The way they looked at one another told me no outside force would ever sit between them. That small scene said everything. They weren't performing. They weren't crafting a message. It was simply two hearts at home in each other. Once those words reached the street, the cameras found Barış as he stepped off a long chute, shoulders carrying the weight of weeks. When reporters relayed his father's statement, witnesses say the armor he'd been wearing melted a little. The guarded posture softened into something lighter, relieved. His eyes shone, and he laughed like a son who has just felt an old, familiar hand at his back. My father has always been my North Star, he told the assembled mics, his voice rich with feeling even as he tried to hold steady. He knows me inside out. If he says I won't turn my back on Elçin, he is speaking my truth. She is my destiny and my safe harbor. Don't feed the falsehoods. We're solid, stronger than before. Calling her his harbor is not casual for someone navigating the restless tides of fame. A harbor is where a ship returns to rest, to fix what was battered, to refuel. He told the world where he anchors. And what of Elçin, who has carried herself with grace through the noise? Moments later, she too was asked to respond. The joy she felt at being embraced so openly by his family was written all over her face. There's a particular gratitude in knowing the people closest to the person you love see you with open eyes. She answered softly, with gratitude that didn't try to hide. Feeling the support of Barış's family is precious to me, she said. His father is a man of wisdom I deeply respect. His words gave me courage. Our bond is not something that can be torn apart. Listen to that phrasing, not something that can be torn apart. There's no maybe in it. It carries both the warmth of romance and the steadiness of tradition, the kind that turns two people into a lineage. But the story didn't fade with sidewalk interviews. Trusted sources tell us that in the glow of that public wave, the couple arranged a small, private dinner to honor the father who had stood up for what was real. Picture it, a table lit in honeyed light, far from cameras. Dishes that taste like childhood. Laughter breaking open the tension that had been trapped for weeks. Embraces that replaced 1,000 statements. The evening, we here, felt triumphant in a quiet way, the palpable relief of seeing honesty outlast spectacle. Those present say that at one point, Barış stood with a glass and turned toward his father. His words were even, his eyes bright. Thank you for speaking the truth my heart already lives by, he told the man who taught him how to stand tall. Some swear a single tear traced down and he didn't bother to hide it. That dinner wasn't just food. It was a ritual of gratitude. A promise renewed. A family choosing to link arms rather than let noise fill the spaces between them. Once again, Barış and Elçin showed us that they are more than two beloved performers with undeniable chemistry. They are two people choosing one another, every day, with a family's blessing around them like steady hands. A father's benediction became both a balm for fans and a shield for the couple. The tabloids will have to shelve their favorite plot. He is not stepping away. She is not letting go. A man who knows his son's soul spoke, and now his certainty hums like a chorus behind the headlines. This chapter has lifted how the public sees them. They no longer look like an on-screen pairing we adore, they look like a home in the making. Look ahead with us, we see sunlight waiting for the Arduk Sengu story. Thank you for sharing this moment of clarity with us here on Secrets Behind the Stars. If you believe that family support can quiet the loudest noise, say so in the comments and leave a heart written out in words. And if our approach matters to you, consider tapping join to become part of our storytelling family. Until we meet again, may your own roots be deep, your shelter sturdy, and your love steady enough to withstand the wind. Goodbye from secrets behind the stars. And to the rumor mill that tried to turn their love into breaking news, consider this your closing credit. The story always belonged to them, and now it belongs to everyone who believes in what endures.